Hello and welcome to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. This is a bittersweet ending. Um, I remember E3 from like the earliest as I can remember, way back when. Um, you know, Obviously, video games has always been like a large part of my life. I think I use it a lot as an escape just from reality and just losing yourself in the experience and just spending time with your friends. My fondest memory is like if I remember closely, it's like with the original Xbox, not big fat Xbox, and we would just play Burnout 3 online with like friends, and we'll just play for like hours on end, like all night. But anyway, it still ties into E3 and shows like when we used to actually have great shows like X Play and E3 was just huge because it gives us a glimpse of games that are coming and we get to see them. And I would remember just being locked in on the screen and just watching all those games and just me being super excited for certain games that are coming out the following years. And and I kind of knew like it slowly kind of like started going away because of I think the main thing that kind of killed E3 in general was I think it was already kind of like in a downwards trend, but what didn't help is like all these developers' information getting leaked out to the public and having that was a huge L, but that wasn't really the cause of it. The true cause of E3 dying, in my opinion, was when big companies like Nintendo decided to part ways with E3 and started doing their own showcase. That was kind of like the start of the end of E3 because these developers and game studios would spend millions and millions upon dollars to attend these big events and showcase their product. It's like it's just a huge marketing. I guess they can use like a budget. It it was a lot of money. So at some point, Nintendo decided like, hey, it'll just be cheaper if we just do our own thing, and that's what they did. So they, did their own thing, Nintendo Direct, and then after that, soon after, Sony decided to start doing the same thing, doing the Sony Direct. So now you got one of the biggest companies in the gaming industries as well as a console maker doing its own thing. And I think that's one of the nail in the coffin. And the fact that during the pandemic, E3 was a live event, so they had to go do it, digitally. So that was another thing too. I think the pandemic really did not help E3. At that point, it was already on the downward spiral. It was just a matter of time before, it died. And unfortunately, it's no longer here. It's like I said, I just remember just growing up in the earlier days, the 2000s, and just kind of like waking up early in the morning and just watching these announcements or watching these big companies like Sony, Microsoft showcasing their new hardwares used to get me excited because that's when these big companies were dropping those big huge announcements to really get you excited. And then like I said, everything, especially now with the internet, it's like nothing is secret anymore. Any kind of announcement of any sort or of any kind always gets leaked out. I mean, look at what happened with the Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer getting leaked out early, and Rockstar, you know what? They said, "Fuck y'all. We'll just put out the damn trailer early," and they just did it anyway. So, so it's just a myriad of different things that were going on in the back end, and I think that's just one of one of many reasons that E3 is just not viable. Now we are gonna have. I think the Future Game Show kind of took a lot of thunder from E3, and also the fact that these big companies, they didn't need E3 anymore. Companies like EA, Activision, Ubisoft, Microsoft, Nintendo didn't need E3, Sony didn't need E3. You know what I mean? And these other big publishers, Activision, Bethesda, obviously they've been acquired by Microsoft, but just this big studios, they just no longer needed E3, and some of them were just not attending the show in general. So it's just a myriad of different things that were going on that kind of killed E3, and unfortunately, it's not something that we're going to be looking forward to, and it sucks. It sucks when something that's been around for so long and then it just kind of ends. I mean, you just gotta enjoy everything that we see at the time and just never know when it's gonna end. You know what I mean? So that's my thoughts. But there are gonna be other, obviously, like I said, Nintendo's doing their own thing. They are actually the first one that started doing this, where they just kind of like branched out and started doing Nintendo Direct and just saving all that money, because E3 is expensive. Flying out developers, putting them in freaking hotels and having these big ass booths, that costs money, and then advertising their product out in the buildings and around the city of LA. So honestly, it just wasn't viable, especially now. Just like the digital media, how everything is transitioning or still trying to transition over to digital instead of physical media, as we've seen time and time again, where these companies are trying to push digital media instead of physical media, which is crazy. But the only other shows that we have going forward now is just the fucking Game Awards, which is just a circle jerk of industry people just tugging each other off and patting each other in the fucking back of their patting each other in the back. And then we have the Future Show, obviously, and then you still have the other developers are putting out their own stuff, like EA does its own thing, Ubisoft has its own thing, so we have that to look forward to. So don't trip about it. They still have ways to showcase their product that they have coming out. So, and they usually have it at the same time every single year, or around the same time the Future Game Show is about to get scheduled, so they'll do it around that time. You'll see like Ubisoft announce theirs, EA announce theirs, or or maybe you'll see even Sony and Microsoft announce theirs too, like right around that time, trying to showcase certain games that are coming. But anyway, enough of me rambling on and on and on and on. Like I said, I'm kind of like, it's a bittersweet. I enjoyed E3 for what it was, and the time that it was here, just like XPlay and all those other dead medias now. But anyways, if you enjoy the content, make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.